One of the best poses you can do is child's pose. Child's pose was probably the first pose I've ever done in yoga. When I first did child's pose, it was after doing a ton of sun salutations, which can be really physically tiring on the body. So doing child's pose was a nice little break from doing yoga. It was a chance for me to open up my chest so I can breathe. You're going to see child's pose come up a lot in a lot of different areas. In fact, if you're someone who likes to work out a lot, don't be surprised if you see child's pose in the middle of your workouts as a way to gain some recovery. I want to go ahead and pull the child's pose on screen so you can take a look at it and kind of see just how it moves and how it operates. It's one of the ways that you can utilize stretching your arms, your hands, your back, a lot of great things that you can do with this posture. As we look into the full screen mode, we can see the model right here. First thing, has knees at a comfortable level. Now, some people are going to need something under the knees, some sort of variable, whether that is the yoga mat itself, could be a couple of blocks, which to me might be a little high. I would prefer a yoga blanket, even a bolster. Again, a bolster can be kind of like yoga blocks, a little high.
Yes.
But they can be beneficial and helpful. So don't worry so much about finding the wrong thing and just kind of go with what you have. And keep in mind, in yoga, you're just doing the best you can. You can do it. You really can. So really don't focus on what you don't have, but focus on what you do have and just try your best with that. These postures are really great for you to figure out ways to get your balance, to feel good, to open up your chest and breathe. But they're really just tools in your overall health. So don't dwell on doing it the correct way. Obviously, you look at the model here, you're going to see it done a particular way with the fingers spread. You're going to see the head drop down. You're going to see the knees pointed out, which is kind of going toward frog if you're doing any form of yoga that might be more into embracing a stretch.
Oh, yeah.
Which is great and a lot of fun. Child's pose, a lot of times my knees are going to be together. That's kind of how I like to do my child's pose, and that's how a lot of yoga instructors will probably guide their students in the child's pose. But whatever works for you is going to be fine. There's really not a right or wrong way to do this. If you want to be true to form, though, knees are probably going to be together initially when you're learning this posture. Let's go ahead and take a further look into child's pose. Another thing you're going to want to keep track of is your breathing. A lot of times in yoga, the work is done through the breath work. You don't want to get too caught up in trying to get the pose perfect. Don't fall for that. You really want to focus on the breath work. If you're doing a breath work, then you're going to be doing the job you need to do. Perfect. So focus on the breath work. As you're getting into the posture, it might take some time. Sometimes it takes me up to 5 minutes, depending if I'm using a belt strap or not. Fun fact about me, when I was doing my yoga teacher training, it would take me about 5 minutes. It took me a long time to really get the strap. I was pretty distracting. Everyone kind of got a good laugh at it, except me. I did think it was funny, but it wasn't as funny to me because I was actually really struggling with the strap. I wasn't as flexible as the girls in my teacher training. I definitely wasn't as flexible as some of the guys that I'd come across as well. That said, I was pretty good, well-rounded. I had a lot of muscle definition. When it came to the straps, it really took me a long time to get into the posture. The journey of getting into a pose can be almost as beneficial as the pose itself. Continue to breathe. Continue to make your movements on a breath, on an inhale or an exhale. When you see some of our sequences, you'll really have a good chance to look into some of these and really experience this for yourself. So you're going to have a lot of fun with that personally just by watching our videos and participating. So make sure that you're involved, you're participating, you're looking into the sequences. Let's go ahead and take another deep look. If you have some sort of pain in the knees, this is going to be something where you're going to really want to make your knees comfortable. Don't fall for the trick of just being in pain. There is something to the idea that suffering can be part of the journey, in that if you distract your mind, you can overcome it. That said, if you're working on yoga, particularly to treat your pain, whether that's pain in your knees or whatnot, try to get your nervous system to be at a nice, calm, and secure place. A lot of times to do that, you're going to need to avoid pain. So you're going to want to take a blanket, thin it out as much as necessary, or thicken it as much as necessary and place it under the knees. And maybe for your butt, for your seat,
oh yeah,
you might want to put a block or something of some sort right under you so you can kind of sit and have a cushion. It's crazy to me just how beneficial it is to have something like this, like some sort of block or cushion that you can really sit on. This is really cool and has helped me out in a lot of ways. I really appreciated the idea of having something that I can use to prop myself. And I know sometimes people think props are cheating, which kind of blows my mind. Really, props are not cheating. They're a way to kind of balance it and make it fair. So a lot of times when I'm teaching yoga, I might have someone in who's very hyper flexible. They can do everything. It's very effortless for them. When they do a posture like this, their knees come in, they're very compact, they don't need a props. They're not in any physical pain. They can kind of collapse into the posture and really just breathe. For you or me, we may not have the same scenario. We might have a different skeleton where some of these aspects that I just described for another person, it's not allowed for you or for myself. So what we need to do is use the props to level the playing field to make it fair. So that for us, it's not pain, it's not tasking our nervous system, it's not producing extra effort. The idea is that we want to be calm, cool, collected so that our nervous system can stay calm, allow for that breath work to come in, loosen our muscles, and allow us to get the same benefit as the person who doesn't need the prop. Now, keep that in mind. The idea is relaxation, relaxing the muscles, not constricting the muscles by overstraining and overstraining. These are things that you might want to do if you're doing a more vigorous form of yoga like power yoga or Ashtanga, if you're really trying to push for that stretch. But in something where you're doing child's pose, even in those styles, you're going to want to primarily be relaxed. So keep all this in mind. Also keep in mind the idea of taking your time into this posture and understanding you're going to have multiple looks at it, maybe even multiple times in one session. So just because you may do it a specific way in the beginning of a session doesn't mean you're going to do it that way at the end of the session. So take your time, ease into the posture. Maybe the first time you have your knees spread outward a little bit, that's fine. Maybe the first time you don't drop your head the full way, that's fine. Maybe the first time your shoulder girdle isn't open completely, that is also fine. Take your time and go into the posture at your own pace and find ways to make it work with comfort, because the goal again is to keep your muscles from straining, to relax them, to keep your nervous system nice and calm and allow for the oxygen flow to get into those harder reach regions. That's what you're going to want to do with a child's pose, to really open up your chest so you can breathe. Imagine doing about 50 push-ups. Now you just really need to collapse into the posture and allow yourself to really embrace the oxygen coming in. Get the circulation coming in, get the circulation going, and really enjoy the fruits of your labor by doing a child's pose after that or any other yoga pose. I've seen people do child's pose as their entire yoga session. It's something that's really beneficial. It feels great.
Oh, yeah.
And I highly recommend it. So if you haven't done child's pose, go ahead and begin child's pose today.